I don't know whether it's a good or bad thing that I'm filming this as I'm going through it, but I guess it's the beauty of life, you know, it comes in ebbs and flows, and there's always going to be those times where you feel low energy and drawn back and things aren't going exactly how you had them planned. But the momentum will return again, and I think it's important to be able to talk about the highs and the lows as we're in them presently. And so I wanted to share my thoughts on getting out of a negative cycle as I'm in one. And I'm hoping that this won't only help some of you guys, but I'm also doing this to try and help myself realign a little and reaffirm some things that I've learned in the past that I know can help. I just want to make a disclaimer by saying I'm absolutely no means any authority on this. There is nothing better than professional help if you're going through something. I just wanted to make this video to kind of share my thoughts and where I am with you guys and kind of open up a conversation about it. I kind of treat YouTube as like a diary, and this is where I am at the moment. I'm going through a breakup and I'm dealing with a lot of heartbreak and grief, and I have been self-medicating with starting and finishing Sex in the City and eating a shit ton of almond croissants and self-isolating and self-loathing. All these things have only added on top of one another, and even though I am hurting, it's not a great trajectory to be on. First up, it's really important to allow yourself to feel deeply whatever it is you're going through, whether it is a breakup in friendship or love, or you're dealing with feeling lost or rejection. Allow yourself to feel, and also have compassion for yourself that this might actually be a really difficult time that you're going through and a really difficult thing, and it's okay to not be functioning as how you normally would. Having grace for yourself invites in more positive narratives, and I know I have a tendency to be hard on myself, and when you're down, pushing yourself down further only exacerbates the situation. You know, it's not maths, like a negative and a negative is not going to equal a positive outcome. So think about how you would talk to a loved one or your best friend if they were going through something. You would give them grace, you would give them encouragement, and you have to treat yourself with the same kindness. And if you are in a bad cycle like me of waking up, going straight to social media, endless scrolling, or coping through like binge watching TV, whatever, making unhealthy choices, the only way to change this is by making a change. And it doesn't necessarily have to be one big action. It can be, as I said, inviting in more positive narratives and affirmations for yourself, but also doing small changes, like instead of ordering food, cook yourself a meal, clean the apartment a little. These small acts will really communicate to yourself that you are worthy and strong enough to be able to get through this, and also help incite positive change. One of these small acts of grace for myself has been falling back into a practice of morning meditation, and I just want to say a huge thank you to Headspace for partnering with me on this video. Taking 5 to 10 minutes each morning to sit still, clear the mind and head, really starts the day with a positive intention, and has also helped distract me from my tendency to reach for my phone and immediately go on social media or emails. I started to get into meditation last year, actually through one of my friends, Nathaniel, and I don't think he knows this, but I was staying with him for a couple of days whilst I was apartment hunting, and it's always really fascinating to be able to see someone else's routine up close. And so in the mornings I would come in, I'd be making myself coffee, and he'd just be on the balcony or on the sofa meditating, and not for like a ridiculous amount of time, but I got really curious and I was asking about the benefits that he's felt in his life, and he's made a whole bunch of videos on it, so you know, you can go hear it from the horse's mouth. But I was going through a pretty tumultuous time, you know, moving to a new country, a new city, trying to find a place and being in between sublets, and taking a few minutes, whether it's in the morning or in the evening, really helped reduce my stress on the situation, and also actually brought in a lot of space for gratitude for where I was in the present. However, I found it so difficult to concentrate on my own, and I was so new to all these techniques, and this is where Headspace really helped change my practice. Their guided meditations make it so easy to get into if you're a beginner or just feel like you need a helping hand or a teacher there with you. Some of the teachers have the most calming voices. Andy is my personal favorite. What I love about the Headspace app is it opens with a daily curation for you, almost like a mindfulness to-do to-do list, from breathing exercises to 5, 10, 20-minute meditation options. They also have movement and sleep content. I really cannot recommend Headspace enough, and seeing the benefits from raising self-awareness to inviting more calm into the everyday and reducing stress has been truly wonderful. So if you want to give it a try, you can sign up using my link in description. I'll also leave my QR code here, and that will give you access to a 60-day free trial, which is so great, and I would love to hear about your guys' experience also. In a similar vein, reducing background noise can really help with mental clarity and getting out of a negative headspace. I live alone, so I have found great comfort in having constant stimulation and noise around, like listening to a podcast whenever I'm making my morning coffee, watching YouTube or a TV show if I'm eating. I don't know, like having things on in the background when I'm working from home. And even whenever I do go outside, I immediately reach for my headphones, which are noise cancelling and just like block out the actual noises of everyday life. And I know some of the things that I consume are educational, like some of the podcasts I listen to have a lot of knowledge and all of that. I think the issue is the flippancy with how we treat media and how we have become so used to consuming so much all the time that it does create negative coping mechanisms. Being intentional not only with what we consume but also how we consume. I'm trying to embrace more silent walks and also doing tech-free mornings where I don't go straight onto my screens first thing. And this will help create more open environments where you can really hear yourself. And this kind of goes into the next thing, which I think is like the most important thing for getting out of negative cycles, is we have to really start to understand ourselves. Understanding where certain emotions come from, how we react to things, how we deal with things, and then try and find solutions to those for moving forward in the next time. And to be able to do this is basically just by asking yourself a lot of questions and asking yourself deeper questions. My journal practice has kind of transitioned more from like stream of consciousness, just writing how I'm feeling, to also asking myself intentional questions to try and understand these feelings. It's amazing how we can move through this world and life without really understanding ourselves. And I don't think I do at all. I kind of touched on this briefly, but I think I'm really at the beginning of the process. And I don't think it's something we got taught at in school, at least I didn't, how to understand yourself on a deeper level and handle certain emotions. Knowing your inner workings, how you operate on a daily basis, how you respond to the outer world, is one of the most important things that you can do, because it really affects everything. It affects your relationships, it affects your work, it affects your experience of life. I'm naturally a very emotional person. I'm a Cancer sun, and what I've realized is when something goes wrong, I find it really hard to think rationally about it, and I always end up leading with emotions. And so for me, it's really important to take that space, whether it is during an argument or if I'm waking up with negative thought patterns, to really reflect on the why, not only to try and understand myself better, but to work on solutions versus just sitting in the emotions and my tendency to like wallow. Let's take an example. The question, why am I hurting, seems pretty self-explanatory to say, oh, it's because I'm going through a breakup. But then you ask yourself more deeply, like, why am I hurting because of the breakup? Because I feel like I let someone else down, or I feel like I wasn't really myself, I wasn't my best self in the relationship. I feel alone now that that person is gone. And then going to the next level, oh, I didn't feel like the best version of myself in that relationship. Well, what did I do? And how can I change how I act in the future so I don't feel that way again? Or if I'm feeling alone, like who else can I turn to? How can I get more comfortable with being by myself? And what kind of things do I like doing by myself that I can maybe start to implement more so I'm not feeling so alone all the time? And so I think it's really important to be asking yourself these questions, and it can be difficult, especially whenever you are in a negative headspace, and it can be really uncomfortable because I guess it's partly shadow work, like you're trying to understand yourself on a level deeper than what you consciously know. But if we don't understand where certain emotions and feelings and reactions came from, then we will only continue the pattern moving forward. And we're trying to get out of the negative cycle, like we're not trying to continue the loop here. Lastly, I'm going to keep this one short, but surround yourself with good people. There's the famous saying, you are who you surround yourself with, and I think it's really true. Like, your circle becomes a reflection of your values, your beliefs, of how you spend your energy. And so if you're hanging around with people who only want to like go out and party or talk shit about others, it's really hard to maintain a differing lifestyle from that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. If that's what your priority is, then you should be hanging out with people who share a similar mindset. I think it's important to figure out what your priorities are in life and then invite those in who have the same mindset. And your circle also becomes your support system whenever you are going through rough periods. And so surrounding yourself with good people, people who uplift you and inspire you and challenge your perspective and also just bring joy and comfort is so important. And I feel really grateful to have some of those people in my life. And so if you are going through something, I just want you to know that you're not alone. My DMs and comments are always open and it's gonna be okay. I'm saying this also for myself, but it's gonna be okay. It's gonna get better. I hope you find something from this video. I feel like it was really rambly, but I hope it helped in some sense, and I'm wishing you a very, very wonderful week wherever you are. And a huge thank you once again to Headspace for sponsoring this video. I'll leave the link down below and here for you to check out once again, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Maybe next week, maybe in a couple of weeks. I don't know, I'm kind of taking some time for myself, but yeah, sending lots of love.